Have you ever considered the possibility that China is home to more than 1,000 wild boars that are being kept on farms? In order to satisfy the ever-increasing demands of the market, these creatures, who were once renowned for their untamed nature and the challenge they posed in terms of domestication, have now become a reliable supply of meat. With the use of closed-loop breeding techniques, the wild boar farming business has achieved great success, which has resulted in an increase in the production of wild boar meat to hundreds of thousands of tons per year. We are going to go on an excursion with Noel Farm today to investigate a wild boar farm that is located right here and raises hundreds of these creatures. When the piglets are approximately 15 to 20 days old, producers at wild boar farms begin feeding them bran and corn. These meals are broken up into 5 smaller meals spread out throughout the day to facilitate digestion. When wild boars are raised in a natural habitat that allows them to roam freely, not only does this assist the herd become healthier and experience fewer infections, but it also produces meat that is firm and tasty, which satisfies the demand for food that is both clean and nutritious. Wild boars begin to display more aggressive behavior between the ages of 7 and 8 months, particularly during the mating season or when they perceive that they are in danger. Harvesting, transporting, or even approaching the herd becomes more difficult as a result of this, necessitating that farmers possess experience, the appropriate skills, and a high level of caution. When compared to pork that is farmed on farms in the traditional manner. At this point, we have reached the conclusion of this excursion, during which we have investigated the way in which wild boars coexist with the natural environment. Although they are the ancestors of modern domestic pigs, wild boars continue to be far more aggressive, territorial, and vigilant in the face of potential threats. They avoid intimate human interaction and retain many of the instincts that are necessary for survival, in contrast to typical pigs. Over the course of several centuries, people had a difficult time domesticating wild boars because of their unpredictable behavior and their robust muscle growth. It has only been in the most recent decades that farms have been able to properly manage them while trying to maintain their wild essence. This has been made possible through carefully controlled conditions and selective breeding. The wild boar is one of the very few large mammals that can adapt to their environment. They are able to flourish in a variety of environments, including steep terrain, grasslands, marshes, and woodlands. Their omnivorous diet enables them to thrive on a wide variety of foods, including carrion, roots, tubers, and even small mammals. On farms, this adaptability is essential for rearing them in semi-wild or forested enclosures, where they continue to graze naturally while being supplemented with grains and feed that is rich in nutrients. The shoulders of a mature wild boar are muscular, the hide is thick, and the tusks are sharp, especially in males. Wild boars are exceptionally powerful animals. It is during the mating season that these tusks are employed for defense and sparring, and they continue to grow continuously. In addition, wild boars have a fat-to-muscle ratio that is distinct from that of domestic pork, which results in meat that is leaner and has a more robust flavor. As a result of their agility and power, wild boars are capable of breaking fences, digging under enclosures, and even charging when provoked. This is another reason why wild boar farming requires strong containment systems and handlers who have received proper training. Farm-raised boars adhere to a diet that is closely restricted, in contrast to wild boars, who will consume nearly everything that is found in nature. When farmers combine crops like corn and wheat with protein-rich supplements like soybean meal, fermented bran, or silage, they are attempting to imitate the natural intake that they find in their environment. In order to simulate the experience of foraging in the forest and improve the quality of the meat, many farms have begun using seasonal fruits, root vegetables, and even acorns. A balanced growth without an excessive accumulation of fat is ensured by feeding regimens that are under control. Wild boars, in contrast to domesticated pigs, require both stimulus and space in order to behave in their natural manner, which includes digging, wallowing, and roaming. It is common practice for farm enclosures to incorporate natural topography, mud baths, logs, or rocks in order to promote physical activity and alleviate stress. Behavioral enrichment is an effective method for reducing aggressive behavior, particularly in males. When boars are being bred or harvested, they are separated from other animals and handled with non-invasive methods to prevent injuries to both the animals and the people who are handling them. Controlled breeding is essential to the practice of sustainable wild boar farming. For the purpose of preserving robust genetics while preventing inbreeding, farmers choose breeding pairings based on attributes such as health, size, and temperament. To achieve a balance between the quality of the meat and the ease of management, many farms use a combination of pure wild boar lines and hybrids with domestic pigs. The piglets that are produced as a result of these crosses are typically easier to grow due to their ability to maintain the gamey flavor and firm texture that consumers demand. However, despite their innate resistance to disease, wild boars are not immune to illness. For the purpose of preventing outbreaks, farms often use stringent biosecurity policies, which may include foot baths, quarantine zones, and vaccination programs. Checkups at regular intervals guarantee that boars are clear of parasites and are developing normally. As a result of the fact that wild boar meat is consumed with an emphasis on quality and health, many farms adhere to the principles of green farming, which discourage the usage of hormones and antibiotics. Unlike the processing of regular pigs, harvesting wild boars is a different process. Humane traps or guided herding systems that lessen stress are frequently used to handle them because of their power and unpredictability, which necessitates particular handling techniques. After the meat has been brought to the processing facilities, it is subjected to a thorough inspection. For the purpose of handling the more difficult hides and bones, specialized equipment is implemented. The end result is a premium beef product that is frequently marketed in gourmet stores or utilized in dishes that are considered to be traditional and high-end. There is a high demand for wild boar meat due to its savory, earthy flavor and its lean texture. In Europe, it is typically prepared by roasting it with herbs and red wine or by slow cooking it in stews. The untamed essence of the ingredient is highlighted in Chinese cuisine through the preparation of dishes like as smoked, braised, or stir-fried with pungent spices. Considering that the meat is abundant in protein, iron, and flavor, it has become a popular alternative for consumers who are searching for something that is more natural, nutrient-rich, and gratifying than pig that is produced in a factory. There is a growing desire for food sources that are both clean and traceable, and wild boar farming is being recognized as more than simply a novelty. It is also being seen as a viable business model. It is possible to rear wild boars with a relatively modest impact on the environment, because they have lower feed conversion ratios than cattle and the ability to flourish on the ground that is considered poor. In locations where there is an excessive population of wild boars, such as certain parts of Europe or southern China, regulated farming and harvesting can also be used as a solution to the problem of ecological imbalances and crop damage.